Thank you, Shitish. So, the definition of osteoporosis came back from WHO way back in '94, where they found from various studies that the bone density, when it reduces by around 25% from the peak bone mass, which is acquired at the age of 30, that is an increased risk for fracture. That corresponds to around 2.5 standard deviations below the bone density, peak bone density. So this is nothing but your T-score. So this is the basic definition from which, the entire parameters have evolved. So coming on to the nomenclature, we have the correct nomenclature would be DXA and not DEXA. The T-score and Z-score are with capital letters and with an hyphen. So these are the small basic things. Now let's go into the actual numbers. So you use T-score in post-menopausal women and in men above the age of 50. You compare the scores with the values from a patient at peak bone mass, which is at the age of 30. A value above -1 is normal, between -1 and 2.5 is osteopenia, below -2.5 standard deviations is osteoporosis. So when do we use Z-score? Z-score is when you're comparing with the same age. In other terms, what it does is it eliminates age as a risk factor for osteoporosis. So you use this when you're comparing children and when you're looking into the bone densities of younger people below the age of 50 or premenopausal women. So what are the precautions? What are important when you're doing a bone densitometry? You need to avoid calcium supplements for the last 24 hours. Otherwise, when there's a calcium pill in the intestine, that can falsely increase the bone density. And like for any radiological investigation, if there is some metal components, that would increase the bone density at that point. Now, what are the classical sites? You want the bone density to be evaluated at the lumbar spine and at the hip for all patients. And only in 3 specific situations do you need to look into the forearm bone density. That is, if your lumbar spine and hip cannot be evaluated, or else if there is hyperparathyroidism. Now, the elevated PTH classically affects the cortical bone. Now, 1/3 radius has 99% cortical bone. So that is the reason in hyperparathyroidism, you're interested in the forearm bone density. In very obese patients, the patient can't fit into the machine. That is why you cannot get a scan of the hip and of the spine. That's why you look into the forearm bone density. Now, this is the usual report. So what all do you look into? You look into the region of interest, the spine, and the various components of the hip. You look into the T-scores, like I said, for people above the age of 50 and postmenopausal females. Z-score, you look into younger individuals, and Z-score eliminates the age factor. So if you're looking for secondary osteoporosis, you always look into the Z-score. You look into the BMD values when you're comparing with previous scan. That is for patients on osteoporotic medicines, whether there's an impact of the medicine or no. The BMD values will give you an answer for that. You also have a FRAC score. That's a newer thing come off in the last few years, where you can predict the 10-year fracture probability. Anything that is high, that is a major osteoporotic fracture is more than 20, or a hip fracture rate more than 3% is an indication for treatment with anti-osteoporotic medicine. So what are the mistakes? If we're coming on to the mistakes, they are basically into 4 categories. Indication errors, lack of quality control, and calibration. So all the DXA machines have a phantom. You need to scan the phantom either daily or at least weekly to make sure that your values are accurate. The DXA scan can pick up values in terms of 1 to even 0.5% changes in the bone density. So the phantom scanning is very important. Whether there's some technique involvement, it's a faulty technique, you need to look into that, and interpretation error. So we'll come and we'll cover all the cases related to this. So we have a case of a young female runner who's 35-year-old who had a classical shin pain because of a long distance running. She has no other history. She has a normal menstrual cycle, normal diet, no alcohol use, no family history of fracture. She has no previous fracture. But a DXA scan was done and she has a T-score of -2.5 at the hip. So will you label her as osteoporosis? That is what the machine said, that she has borderline osteoporosis, a young, healthy 35-year-old female, and she was quite traumatized. But as you know, shin pains are very common, And all T-scores less than 2.5 do not mean osteoporosis. It could just be plain vitamin D deficiency, osteomalacia. That would again reduce the density of the bone. Other causes of low bone density other than osteoporosis would be osteogenesis imperfecta, CKD, multiple myeloma, mastocytosis. So be aware of that. Now the second thing is look into the image. So in endocrinology, there's always a golden rule. Always look into your numbers first. Look into your labs, then look into the images. So over here again, before we label anyone, it's very important that you look into the image and then you exclude the abnormal things. So over here, if you see in this one, the L4 is very hyperdense. So if there's any vertebrae that has a T-score that varies from the other vertebrae by more than 1 point, you need to eliminate that in your analysis. Otherwise, it will give you a false reading. Now, another one patient, you have a 65-year-old man who's a heavy drinker. He has a fracture of L1. His T-score shows he has osteoporosis. Now, we have removed L1 from the analysis. His Z-score is still low. A Z-score below -2 means in addition to his age, there is some more risk factor. So what do we need is, in addition to treatment, you need to look for secondary osteoporosis. Whether he's been on long-term steroids, whether he has low testosterone, whether he has an elevated PTH, you need to look into that. Now, the region of interest. So here you see the hip scan. So globally, you have two machines for the bone densitometry. It's like your Android system and your Apple. You have an Hologic and you have the GE Lunar. So, the Hologic has a square box, the GE Lunar, they have a triangle for analysis of the region of interest. So it's important that the lines are placed properly. If the lines are more lower down, more amount of your shaft would be included in your region of interest, and the result would be a 10% increase in the bone density. So make sure that the technician is playing this line properly. Now, implants can again give a faulty increase in your bone densitometry. Hip rotation, if the hip is not rotated properly internally, there can be an increase in the bone density by around 7%. Now, look into the differences. If a same patient has a difference in the spine versus the hip, if the spine shows a worse density, that could be because of glucocorticoids. Long-term steroids affect cancellous bone more than cortical bone. Your spine has more cancellous bone. Now, if you have a comparison with the old and new, that could point towards a new source of trouble. So this was a CA prostrate with metastasis. Other thing is, here you have a patient with vertebroplasty kyphoplasty cement in situ, so the scores are quite high. You need to eliminate it, then you will get the accurate score. Here another issue of the vertebrae levels being misidentified. Or here you have a patient who has his hand on his belly. So these are the fingers, which are included in the bone densitometry. Another issue is sometimes make sure that, the gallstones are eliminated. Your region of interest should be at the spine. Sometimes the machine may pick up the gallstones and give the density of that. Last couple of slides, sometimes you have a patient with a laminectomy. So what happens is here, if you see, the T-scores are quite low in the upper zone. Over here, you see the T-scores are low in the lower zone. So this is because of laminectomy. So the values can be falsely low. So you need the history of the patient. And the last is aortic calcification. So if you have an aortic calcification, obviously the density would be high. So if you have an evidence of aortic calcification, the spine values would be falsely high. So that's it. Thank you. Any questions?